welcome back to Studio B54. Today we're going to be reviewing Die Hard. Is it not a Christmas movie? Just to start off right now, I think it is. It is just because of the little funny Christmas quotes that happen on Christmas. That's enough evidence for me. And it kind of gives you the Christmas spirit sometimes. So I'll allow it. It's a Christmas movie. This is my first time watching it. It was really good. When I saw the trailer, I'm like, oh man, this movie's gonna take forever. 2 hours and 20 minutes. No, like I even told my wife, I was like, do you want to watch it together? It's gonna take a long time. I watched it by myself. Could not put my phone down. It was a great movie. Um, Great action, funny quotes, funny characters. Um, John, John is he's a savage. I like him. I don't think you can make this kind of movie again in this culture right now, but it was a good movie. So it's a movie about. Let's get into this. The movie is about New York cop, NYPD officer. He goes to visit his wife and his family in LA. His wife is very successful, like super successful, and he's kind of like trying to go back to see if he can remend his marriage. He gets here, his wife changed her name, so he's like, I don't think this is gonna go well. Okay, he gets to the party. On he gets to the he doesn't get to a party. He gets to the corporate office at his wife's Christmas party. That's the whole theme, like the Christmas party. That's the theme. And he meets people. He meets the owner, like one other girl, and like one of the salesmen. And when he meets the salesman is doing drugs, so he's like, I'm not that big fan of you. But it's the 80s or whatever, so everyone's doing coke. I'm still amazed at how many people do coke right now. Like they do coke like it's the new weed or something. Like, yeah, have a bump here there. I can't. It's too much. I've never done it, but whatever. Enough about me. So something happens. Okay, moving truck gets into the parking lot. Turns out they're the only people there. They're renovating the building to bring in more people from his company. And the moving truck is the bad people, the terrorists. And it's kind of weird because, like, it's weird how we think about terrorists because in that point in time, the terrorists were like some Swedish dudes from, like, I don't know, Sweden, I guess, Finland. Like, I don't know, the big blonde dudes that were like, I don't know. To me, that wouldn't be like a terrorist. Like, if right now, okay, in the early 2000s, 2001 to 2010, 15, you're talking about like maybe like dudes from Middle Eastern looking dudes or something like that. Maybe North Korean looking dudes. Now, like, if you told me like, oh, we're gonna make a movie about terrorists that come into the United States and hold up a building, I wouldn't think about like a foreign faction kind of thing. I would think of like domestic, like terrorists. That's what I would think now. So it's funny how we change from terrorism over time. It's weird how we perceive evil. Anyways, back to the movie. So he's at the event. He's like, I don't really want to be here. I'm just kind of waiting for my wife to get back so we could go home and see our kids. And she's like, I'll sleep at your house or whatever. And then boom, the terrorists come in. They're holding everyone hostage. For some reason, John is somewhere else. He's like on the second floor, and he manages to get away from everybody. And they have everyone corralled down in the 30th floor where the party was at. So it's like, what, like 30 people in the 30th floor? And they take over really fast because their security sucks. And they're kind of like the outskirts of the city, and they're not like in downtown LA. So it's really easy for them to take over. And then they think they're in control, but they're really not. John shows them like, oh, he set off a fire alarm. The LA fire department goes, and they're like, no, it's just a malfunction on our system. And he's like, okay, we'll go. So he turned away, and then he's like, man, I just, we got to find the evil terrorists or whatever. They're not evil, but the terrorists are like, we have to find out who's sent this notification, trying to alert the authorities that we're here. They're there because they're trying to get into a vault. By this time, they already killed the president of the company, the founder, because he wouldn't give up the code. Now they're like brute force trying to get into the safe just to steal money. And that's when he starts just wreaking havoc again. He kills a couple of the terrorists. He sets off some bombs. He goes to the top of the roof to get a radio connection to notify the LAPD that, something bad is going on. And then the LAPD is like, no, we already sent someone there. It was just a false alarm. He's like, send someone else. There's gunshots happening here. And they send one patrol to this one place. And when the patrol gets there, I think his name's Al. Or Roy. No, Al. His name's Al. He gets to the place and he's like, nothing wrong here or whatever. So John sees that he's about to leave. So what he does is he starts shooting at the window, and he tosses one of the bodies that he just killed, and it lands on top of the squad car. And he's like, oh, like, we need reinforcements. Like, something is happening here. There are holding hostages. That's when LAPD finds out. Okay. I don't know if it's the 80s. I think it has to do because it's the 80s. But to my understanding, LAPD has very good protocols. If you watch any of the SWAT movies, LAPD has some of the best protocols to like breach buildings and negotiate with terrorists and stuff like that. These guys were like, well, let's give them everything they want. They want a helicopter? Let's give them a helicopter. They want this? We'll give them this. And then the FBI comes along. Like, what are we doing? Yeah, we're negotiating with terrorists. I'm like, what is going on here? Like, this is not supposed to be happening. Like, you don't negotiate. You don't give them what they want. You know. I don't know. I was just like flabbergasted. And you're like, these people are gonna die, and they do. The people end up getting shot because like the deputy sheriff or something like that. He sends people trying to like lockpick the door, where then like he starts getting shot at. I'm like, why are you trying to lockpick the door? It's a glass door. The other team can see you. Like, team as in like the terrorists, they could shoot at you. That was frustrating. It was so I'm not a tactical person, but that was super frustrating. I was like, okay, bro, like whatever. So they're like, don't worry. We have like armored vehicles, and they have an armored vehicle. They send this armored vehicle probably like 2 miles away to breach into the building. Well, guess what? The terrorists have RPGs or something like that. Like, 2 miles. 2 miles. They had enough time to like set up and like I don't know. Okay, there's enough time to set up and shoot the armored vehicle down. Now I'm just like, you just pretty much killed those people. You did. Um, the FBI comes along. They get the helicopters. They send the helicopters to the top of the roof. What ends up happening? The roof is booby trapped because they're like, we're gonna kill all those people, and we're gonna kill the FBI agents, and they're gonna like escape through the bottom. And John foils that plan. Of course he does. And actually, John's driver, limo driver from the beginning of the movie, helps out too because he crashes into the guy that's trying to break into the safe. He crashes into his car, which I was like, oh man, look at you, bro, fucking putting in work, helping out John. And so he gets away with it. He kills most of the terrorists except for the big blonde guy, and then the Hans guy falls from the building when he discovers that he tries to take John's wife hostage because he discovers who she is. Again, I don't know what kind of rules they have for reporting, but the news reporter, horrible person. Why would you go and what did he do? He like threatened someone with calling ICE on them. Two, he's talking to these people's children without permission of the parents. I'm just like, this guy is a douche. I thought he was gonna be a cool guy. No, he turns out to be a douche. And so John McCain's wife, Holly, I think her name's Holly, she almost falls down the 30th floor with Hans because he grabs onto her. But John ends up shooting him. He goes down, and they're all celebrating. They go downstairs and they're celebrating, and Roy, who is John, who is the cowboy, meets with Al, who is the cop that he first communicated with. He meets him downstairs, and he's like, you know what, like, I'm so happy I got to talk to you. Like, you're a great cop. You should go back onto the field, because Al had an incident where he shot a kid who maybe or maybe did not have a gun on him. And he's like, you should go back to the field. You're a good cop. You helped me out a lot. And in that moment, you hear like something happening. I don't remember if someone's getting shot or not, but the biggest, baddest, blondest terrorist comes out with his machine gun. And you see Al, boom, doesn't even think about it, pulls out his gun, boom, shoots him. And that's like the end of the terrorists. They caught all the terrorists, And it was such a good movie. It's a really long video, but it was really a really, really good movie. I suggest you guys watch it. If you don't think it's a Christmas movie, it's a good old movie, Like, I feel sometimes old movies don't hold up, but this one does. It's a little frustrating because of those dumb characters, but I still watched it. I watched the whole thing. It was amazing. I'd give it, I don't know. What did I take away from this? I took away that sometimes, I don't know, like, sometimes you need a little push, or you need to see other people doing something you want to do, or having that courage that you might want, and see that they're doing well with it. Because I feel like the most important thing that we got was that it was a great movie overall, but that Al was able to muster up the courage to be able to use his weapon again when he really needed it to, So he got over the fear of using his weapon. He found that courage. And I think the reason he found it was because he saw his friend being courageous. He could have been, a part of the 30 people that got kidnapped. He could have surrendered. But sometimes finding that courage that we need in our everyday life, I think that's what I took away from this movie. That sometimes you just, you need to muster up that little bit of courage you need to do the things we want and the things we need to do. I give this movie an 8.9 out of 10. It was a great movie. I really recommend you guys watch it. Peace, comment, like, subscribe.